Welcome back to the channel, guys. We're back with another video. It is election week in the United States, and there's lots of hype happening around what's going on, who's going to win, what does it mean for the price of Bitcoin. That's what we're diving into in today's video. As always, if you enjoyed the content, please make sure to smash that thumbs up button below, and don't forget to grab your free copy of The Rise of Bitcoin. It's linked below this video in the description. Grab it now while it's free, and let's get into the video. Okay. So lots of stuff happening with Bitcoin's price action over the past week or two. So the major thing that I want to hone in on here is the fact that we broke above this downwards trend line, which we were trying to break above for so many months since those March highs. We got all the way up to a new all-time high in March at 73,777, but we had failed to break above this trend line, here in May as we proceeded, again in June, again in July. We even wicked up as high as $70,000. And again, we tested this level even as recently as the middle of September, where we got rejected once again. And finally, on October 28th, we managed to break through that level, that downward trend, and close above it. And we went even higher. We wicked all the way up to 73,500 and got very, very close to all-time highs, but got rejected and we're coming back down again. So what does that mean? What does it mean for the price of Bitcoin moving forward? Well, I think we need to wait for a little bit more certainty in the markets over the next few days. We've got the election here on November 5th, followed swiftly by the next FOMC meeting on November 7th. So again, if we look at what's been going on in terms of a rate cut, which is going to be happening on November 7th, more than likely 98.9% chance of a rate cut happening by 25 basis points, 1.1% saying that we're going to be staying right where we are. But more than likely, we are looking at another 25 basis point rate cut by the time we get to November 7th. If we look over at poly market very briefly, we can see that Trump is slightly ahead in the polls. Again, this is not done until it's done. And yes, a Trump victory would probably be more bullish for the price of Bitcoin, given the fact that Trump has, been more outspoken in terms of his support of Bitcoin. We saw him appearing at Bitcoin Nashville a few months ago and being very outspoken about a number of actions that he would take in relation to Bitcoin. Whether you think that is coming from a genuine place of interest or not, whether that is the case, that's to be debated. But he came out and he said it in a very positive manner. He showed up at those events. He backed Bitcoin and he spoke very positively in support of it. I think, his understanding of Bitcoin is still probably lacking somewhat, but the fact that he is a presidential candidate, a former president of the United States, coming out and essentially endorsing Bitcoin and what we can do with Bitcoin and blockchain technology moving forward is a very, very positive indicator. And I think if we get that certainty with a Trump victory, I think we begin to move back up to test all-time highs very soon thereafter. And that would be a catalyst in combination with the rate cut expected on November 7th for us to potentially break through these previous all-time highs. On the other hand, if we get a Harris victory, I think in the short term, we might have a little breakdown below this particular level, this trend line once again. And if we did come down, we could move towards retesting the 200-day moving average, which is currently sitting here around 63,500. So again, if that Harris victory does happen, we may come down to test this level before moving back up again. And the reason I say moving back up again is because I do think, regardless of who wins this election, global liquidity is not slowing down, and we're going to be seeing more liquidity flowing into risk on assets with another 25 basis point rate cut. It's not going to happen overnight, but it is going to play out over the next 3 to 6 to 9 months, depending on how long we continue to get rate cuts and how long the Fed holds down those rates. We're looking at a 6 to 12 month cycle here in terms of the price of Bitcoin moving higher on the back of these rate cuts and global liquidity. And if we look over at this global liquidity chart, what we've typically seen is the price of Bitcoin following global liquidity. Again, it's looking like it's lagging global liquidity by about 8 to 10 months. And we can see Bitcoin in the blue on the chart here and the growth of global liquidity in the green. we see a big surge in global liquidity here, over the next few months in terms of projection. And then where we're thinking or expecting the price of Bitcoin to go would be following global liquidity. More cowbell, more liquidity, more capital on a global scale means that more people are going to be putting capital into risk on assets. And a study from Lynn Alden very recently that she commissioned was to do with the fact that they wanted to investigate or quantify Bitcoin's correlation to measure of global money creation relative to other asset classes. And what they found in the study is that Bitcoin moves in the directional of global M2 83% of the time. So that is more than most all other asset classes like the S&P, like gold, etc. So what that means essentially is that we've got an 83% chance that this blue line for Bitcoin follows the green line all the way up here for global liquidity moving to the upside. So lots of exciting stuff happening on the horizon over the next number of months. And again, I don't think the result of the election is going to prevent Bitcoin going to new all-time highs over the next few months. Again, the immediate result in the space of a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks could be slightly different depending on who gets into office, but the medium-term outlook is very much unchanged. I think we're going higher with global liquidity increasing, Bitcoin following in hot pursuit of global liquidity, rate cuts coming in again expected on November 7th, and money flowing from risk off assets into risk on assets as investors seek higher yields and higher returns for that capital. So lots of interesting stuff going on. I think it's a very interesting week with both of these events happening. US presidential elections, November 7th FOMC meeting with expected rate cuts. The price of Bitcoin waits in patience for where it will go to next. As I outlined, I think there's kind of two scenarios that can play out. I think the rate cut is very much on the cards, regardless of who gets into office as well. And I think the short term or the immediate reaction of the market will play out in the coming days and couple of weeks. Let's stay tuned. Let's see what happens. That's it for today's video, guys. A very quick update on the price of Bitcoin, given this very important week and the events that are on the calendar. As always, if you enjoy the content, please make sure to smash the thumbs up button below. Hit that subscribe button. It really does help with the channel. We want to continue making videos, spreading the good word, and getting the videos in front of more eyeballs. So subscribe below, smash that bell notification icon, and don't forget to grab your free copy of The Rise of Bitcoin. It's down below the video. Grab it in the description, and we'll catch you in the next one.